What? Click a bus. How should you click a bus? No, 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 this is not funny. Hello. Oh, wow. This started by itself because whatever. But let's settle up for this one. I feel like this one's deep. Well, like every other one. I wasn't meant to start, but it just started. So here we are. It's because I keep feeling like I want to cry, and so I'm like, I don't want to cry on camera. So I'm just like, but yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling emotional the past few days, which is totally normal. You know, crying releases stress, but it's kind of unrelated to this topic. To be honest, it's not to do with heartbreak, specifically romantic, like romantic relationships in that sense. It's more so I've been feeling energetically polluted. I don't know how to explain it, but that's just how I can put it into words. I was telling someone today, and this is the only way I could explain it to them. I was like, I just feel a little overwhelmed with a lot that's going on. And there's a lot going on at the same time in my life, and it's just a bit much. But it's funny because I have my own reasons, like I just said, to feel emotional. But then what happens a lot of the times is it kind of just like brings up other things. I don't know. I feel like burping. Oh my god. I think this is such a mess, but I think it's raw and it's honest, which is what matters, which is what I want to do. Did I just burp on camera? That's horrible. That's actually horrible. It's not. I'm a human. Now I want to cry again. There's also a bug in my room, and I think you can hear it. It's literally so loud. I tried to take it out, and it's not wanting to go outside. Why doesn't it want to go outside and be in the fresh air? I'm crying over a bug. No, but long story short, I wouldn't say maybe reminiscing. I don't know what word to find right now. I'm not in a space to think too much of words. Like I was thinking, reminiscing, remembering the past, and I can say I went through a very, very serious heartbreak around 2 years ago, 2-ish, yeah. And I just sometimes you just remember it, and I'm not gonna lie. If it's your first time going through a heartbreak, I'm gonna say this: you're always gonna remember it, but not in the way you think. Like for example, now I'm not crying over a specific person or the person from 2 years ago. To be honest, if I'm being completely honest, maybe it's different to other people. For me, I've let that person go after 6 months max of the relationship and what happened. For me, the thing that I thought was going to be there forever, I always in my head would think, I'm never going to be able to get over them. I'm never going to be able to recover and heal. Actually, that's the fastest thing that happened for me is I genuinely am they're completely detached from that person, completely detached from that life and that version of myself. But the way you remember it once you heal, because I believe this is healthy healing, once you fully heal, you're still going to remember your past, obviously. But the way you remember, you kind of reminisce or grieve. You grieve the older version of yourself, maybe the more naive version of you. Maybe you were naive. Maybe you just grieve that older version of you that was with that person and that was you. That's what stays. And I just remembered randomly. I was thinking about it today, and then I was like, randomly, I was like, I think if I speak about this, this is really significant because this is not something I thought I would speak about. But I think it's so funny. It's so funny because it's been 2 years, and it's like I don't know how to put it into words. It doesn't hurt at all. Like, it actually does not hurt. Does time heal? I don't know. I don't think my phone is also running out of battery. This is like not well planned. I don't think time heals. I think you get used to time 100%, but that shouldn't scare you. You definitely get used to time. You get used without that person's company. You kind of change as well. I'm not going to lie. Like, that version of you kind of changes. I'm not saying you have to dramatically change, but you're going to change after a breakup naturally. But I don't think time necessarily heals, maybe in its own manner, but the pain, I want to say, goes away. Okay, not fully. I think here's what it is. It's such a, like, I don't know. There's no point going into it because everyone will have different opinions, and that's not what I'm here to do, to tell you whether it's gonna still be painful or not. For me, I don't think it's pain. I think it's attachments that's left. The emotional attachments that you might feel like, oh, that's painful, but like, because initially what you're saying with pain is you're just afraid. Like, most of the time, it's just fear of like getting hurt again that people hold on to, and the attachment of what was or what could have been, or they haven't given themselves closure because that person hasn't given you closure, and you haven't given yourself the closure, and now it's like it feels like it's still up in the air. But in truth, I think I don't think it is painful forever. I really don't. But it is something you'll remember. It's gonna be in your memories. But it's not the way you think. Because I thought, when people would tell me this as well, I thought it would be like, you're always gonna like just randomly. Look, now I got emotional from my own things. And then in the midst of that, I remembered that as well. But not for one moment was it like, oh my God, I feel pain right now, but it is extremely painful until you get over it, I feel like. And there's not a time frame. There's definitely not a time frame. Like, it happens when it happens, and it happens really randomly. But that's not even what you should be concerned about, to be honest. I know that was what I was concerned about. I was just thinking, how long is this going to take? Because that pain, oh my goodness, it was painful. And I don't know, the relationships are such like a complex thing. There's so many reasons, and there's so many whys and doubts and buts and ifs and maybes and what could have been and what should have been, wrong person, wrong time, opinions. Especially now online, you see opinion, do this, do that, don't let them do that, don't let them say that to you, don't be like this, be like this, fit into this specific thing, don't fit into any specific thing, write a list of the goods and the bads, do that. And it's like, oh my God, you just feel the pain, and I know. And it's just pain. But I think the specific emotion I'm thinking of right now, and I was feeling today almost, is when something overwhelming like that happens, you sort of become very lonely. You start feeling very lonely and alone. You feel like ostracized almost by the world and by the universe, as in like, no one's ever felt like this, because you don't know what happened. And no, that's right, no one knows what happened. And it's like feelings and emotions, and especially love and all these things, they're so strong. And as much as some people will be like, I know, I've been there, done that, it's like, no, but you want to feel like the experience was yours, and because it was yours and that person's only. And it's like, it feels so powerful and strong that it's like you almost start feeling lonely when the breakup happens. And it's like, when you're finally there accepting that, yeah, the breakup has happened, you now feel alone. Yeah, the friend came over and supported you, maybe they bought you something and sat with you and try to comfort you and stuff, but deep down you feel extremely lonely, and you feel like the only person that could understand you in that moment is the person you were in a relationship with, which is where you feel like where it could get toxic, and you keep pulling back to that person even though you know it ended for a reason, because you're like, you feel like they're your closure, but let me tell you that for a fact, the person you broke up with, when you know for a fact you broke up and that's it, you had your reasons, they're never going to give you the closure, even if they might actually reciprocate that like back and forth communication after the breakup. Yeah, you guys are not going to give each other the closure. That's just how it is. It's never going to come from that person, even if, like, let's say they're in the wrong, for example, or like they treated you poorly and you're like thinking maybe one day they'll realize and apologize. Maybe in 2 years time they'll realize and they'll come back. Oh, please don't think like that, because I used to think like that. Oh my god, do not think like that, because in 2 years you're not going to want them to come back. Absolutely not. You're in a completely different reality. That's the truth. If you fully heal and if you fully let yourself heal, you actually will be in a completely different reality. That's actually, like, I'm not joking. That's what they mean by glow up. I think the glow up, this is why I say you naturally change after a breakup, like it or not, because it's an internal glow up. I think something about you will change, and everyone's different, and there's different things in every relationship. And so maybe there's going to be, for me, a lot of things. If I'm being honest, most of me changed, not at the core, but like things about you and things, the way you are, it's going to change. And I think that's what you almost reminisce, that's how you say it. Anyways, so what truly heals? I feel like I'm kind of going around but not really answering. It's because I'm getting to the point, because it's that loneliness you feel and that hopelessness. It's like, it's hopelessness. That's why breakups feel so strong, that song that says like, this world can hurt you but nothing breaks like a heart. Yeah, because it's like, it brings about a sort of hopelessness that is very, 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 like, just upsetting, and it makes you feel miserable. It makes you feel lost and lonely and afraid as well, which fear is a really big emotion that I've spoken about before, that can control us. But I'm gonna say this, and please take in the nicest way possible, that loneliness is good to an extent, but it happens naturally, right? You kind of even want to isolate yourself, right? And you want to sit and cry, and you see how your body reacts to it. You start crying, or you just want to be, everyone you hear after a breakup, what do they say? Even guys, like, I've spoken to so many guys and girls, and maybe people have different reactions, but it's like, I didn't go out the house for 6 months. I couldn't get out of the house for 2 months. I couldn't do anything for like weeks. I couldn't get out of bed for weeks, and as much as this is a very like upsetting thing to go through and very painful, there's a reason we naturally just start acting like that after a breakup. This is what I'm trying to say, and I was trying to find the right words. You know how I always say everything happens for a reason. Try to find, like, there is a light and there is a meaning, I'd say, rather than a light. There is meaning in everything, right? And so that loneliness is actually good. So what actually heals you, and what actually heals you to your core, and what actually healed me, is sitting there. I know this is so, like, I feel like it's so annoying. This, if I heard this when I was going through it, I would literally rip my hairs out. Like, but it's true, because we don't actually, a lot of the time we drag the process by not sitting with it and sitting alone and not feeling lonely. Like, instead of, because you might be sitting alone but you're in your head feeling lonely the whole time, so you're not actually taking in that present moment to be like, oh my god, okay, I'm alone. Do you know what I mean? It's scary. It is scary, and especially if it's like long relationships where you're so used to being in the company of someone else. And this could go with friendships as well, to an extent, right? Because especially strong friendships where it's like you guys were like besties, and now it's like all of a sudden you feel like, but that's where the key is, you see? It's like, don't run away from that, or don't cover that up with feeling lonely and then feeling the pain of loneliness and crying over it, and like, sort of just allow yourself to be and observe yourself I spoke once about how sometimes we have to observe ourselves from like a third person perspective because it really helps. Try to observe yourself at times again from a third person perspective of like, I'm I'm here, I'm alone, but I don't have to be lonely, but I am alone. Because naturally we come into this world alone and we leave alone. Or you know what I'm trying to say. And most of the time in this life we spend with ourselves. And there is a truth in that, and truths in life have to just be accepted. That's what I'm going to say. There's a truth that we will die one day. Okay. You can argue with everyone in this world however much you like and go around and say, that's not true, that's not true, and go against the truth. But you're going to die. Just how you were born, you're going to die one day. That's just a truth or a fact, I guess. But I call it a truth, right? Right. So there's little truths in everything, and experiences in life. And when you want to face it and when you get on board with these truths, it just makes it easier for you, and it starts like catalyzing almost and showing off different parts. Like the moment when I sat with this truth and realized I am alone. I am. But that doesn't have to be scary. I don't have to put that in a box and attach negative emotions and negative thoughts to the idea of being alone. I can accept it and you don't even have to find a beauty in it in that moment. You can still feel your pain. That's totally fine. But just find the truth in it, that it's like you're alone, and it's like it sucks and it's painful and it's miserable, and it might feel even hopeless, but truth brings peace. It's like, it's just the truth. Like I said, we're all gonna leave this earth once. Is it a bit scary at first? It can be scary, but I don't know. When I say that, I don't think of fear. I think of, yeah, it's just the truth, and it can be a bit like, damn. It can evoke emotions. It can evoke thoughts, But again, if you choose not to attach anything to that and just let it be the truth of what it means that we're all going to leave one day, it's like, okay, then it is, and then you can feel everything else around it. You can feel like all the emotions around the idea of death and what surrounds that, which is life, your life, the idea that you have a whole life to live before you die, whenever that will be. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Sometimes when you just accept that truth that's in the middle, that feels so detrimental and scary, and like, oh my God, such a big statement, we're all going to leave the world. Once you kind of just accept that and you kind of zoom out in the third person, you realize there's all these beautiful things around it. Life, the fact that I'm alive right now, the fact that I'm present. Do you get it? And this is what I'm trying to say. There's that truth in the middle of, I'm alone now. And it might be scary, blah, 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 blah. But then you're going to start to realize the bigger picture, and, there is more to life than a relationship. And I know that's hard to hear. And like, come on, man. Sometimes you just, there's more to life. Great. But I had this thing, but I keep burping, sorry. Honestly, yeah. I just feel like if I keep saying this, but the younger version of me, if she heard this, she would have punched through the screen. But this is what I would have told her. Because it's so boring to say the same things, time heals, and whatever you hear from everyone else, it's like time heals and you're gonna be better, or like go around the route of, they weren't good for you anyways, they were this, they treated you badly, they this. Oh, hate, anger, all of this is just random emotions and that you're attaching to, just, oh, they didn't do that, or you're gonna find so much better, or you're gonna have such a good glow up, and you're gonna I know I didn't need to hear all of that. I had some people around me at the time that would tell me, you're so much better looking than this person. You're gonna find so much better. And it genuinely made me want to puke. Like, I was like, I don't want to hear this right now, because I don't care about that, because my soul hurts and my heart hurts. Do you know what I mean? And that's not going to make any sense to a truly broken heart, because we're not talking about ego here, right? I don't care about this person's looks. I never did. And I never compared my looks to this person or anything, you know? And it's just shallow things that people try to put in your head, or whatever you hear online and things like this. And it's like, but when you actually sit at night alone with yourself, you don't care about those things. And maybe you might go throughout the day and think about these things, and you might think it makes you feel better. It's like, yeah, you're right, I'm so much better looking. And you might be looking in the mirror and feeling good. But then when you actually go to sleep, or when you're silent throughout the day and you let that pain come through, you realize, oh shit, that doesn't actually matter. Was I allowed to say that? But it's just a word. I don't know. Because I don't know. Anyways, like, that doesn't actually matter. Don't lie to me. Do not lie to me. We're humans and we're made of the same matter. And you can hide behind ego. You can hide behind all these things all you want, especially in social situations. Yes. Fine. Some people might not read it. Some people might not be able to tell that you're lying to yourself. But you cannot lie to yourself when you're alone. And this is what's going to happen when your heart is broken. You're going to be alone. All right? Face it. Don't lie to yourself, and don't, oh no. Let's not bury it deeper down. That's what all you're doing. If you're going to go about a breakup in an egotistical way, in an egotistical manner, and let it get to you in a sense of, oh, they were so much lower than me, they were this and they're that. Absolutely not. You're not going to heal. And you're not actually healed. You're just burying it down, deeper and deeper. You're actually getting it worse down deep in there. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely not. Like I said, do not lie to me, because when you're alone in your room, you know what happens. Whether you cry or not, you don't have to cry. You bottle it up, fine. Or you have other outlets of letting it out, that's absolutely fine. Or some people just think and you're overthinking about it. You're a human and it happens and it's natural. Okay. And you don't need to cover up this. Because look, this is the beauty in it. I would say, honestly, this is the nice beauty. Okay, no, my accent's actually coming through, and I'm like, how many times this video should I start speaking in my Eastern European accent? Maybe that because that way I can actually say things as they are, and I don't have to. I don't know why though. It's fine. It doesn't bother me, but you know, beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right, where was I going? Because I had a point, and this fly, I think you can hear it. Like, this is so hectic. Oh my god, I had such a good point. Don't piss me off right now. I maybe the fly is gonna tell me. I'm joking. No. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to go back on track to remember. So essentially, just don't lie to yourself, because when you're gonna be like, oh my god, I think I remembered. So that's the beauty in it. You don't have to put a front, you know. A lot of the times people, when they go through breakups, they put fronts and they're like, it's fine, it's not that. But actually, this is a beautiful example of a thing and an experience in your life where you don't have to put a front, and to yourself, I mean, as in, like, because it's kind of a isolating experience where it's like you feel it yourself, because the whole point is you're away from this person and you shouldn't be in contact with them, so you have to just go through it yourself. And yeah, you might have support around you, but in all, you feel it yourself. There's that beauty in that alone time, that it's like it's just you know, and you create this special bond, just how you would with a friend. with another special person in your life, you are also a special person for yourself, and you create a special bond where you don't have to put a front. Where, okay, maybe at work you're gonna go and you're gonna try your best not to cry. Totally understandable. You don't want to cry over your breakup at work. You want to work. You want to not think about it. It's not like I'm telling you to think about it all the time and like feel the pain all day long. No, that's fine, cool. But then you have that time after work, instead of like running away from it, you come home and you're like, cool, let me just sit with it now. And it just creates this special bond where it's like just me, myself, and I. And you don't have to pretend. You don't have to hide, That's why it's so beautiful to have a relationship with yourself. Because it's like, you don't have to hide. You really don't. But a lot of the times people choose to hide from themselves the most, which is so crazy when you think about it. But it's true. We naturally sometimes just are domesticated to like hide and parts of ourselves that we think are not so acceptable, and hide the way we actually feel, our emotions, the way we think, right? But this is why it's beautiful when you are actually open with yourself and trust yourself. It's like, okay, I can come home and I can cry about it and I can let myself feel. And I know I won't judge myself. And then someone else, there's no one else here. No one else will judge me because it's just me, myself, and I in this room. And it's great, and it's a little isolating, but it's like, I'm saying there's beauty in that. And I'm not going to tell you anything else. I'm not going to tell you that you're better looking than that person, or that you deserve better, or that you always deserve better, the best. I mean, you always deserve the best, and you should know that, and that's just the truth. And all these things, especially now, it's like, or like, they didn't look that good, they didn't have the money, or they didn't have this, or I don't know what other things people say these days online and friends to friends. It's like, it's all very useless. I'm sorry. It's just, just accept that you're a human, and this is just a human experience, and there's actually a lot of beauty in it as well. Along the process, give it time, patience, and it's like, oh wow, then you realize there's so much after it. And the last thing I want to say is, I think, so important. It does not, and I don't like to use the word hate, but I actually kind of despise when people use this as an excuse. It doesn't make you bitter. It doesn't make you bitter. It doesn't make you heartless. I'm so heartless now because I went through a breakup. Get out. There's the door. Get out. No, absolutely. This is the most childish, one of the most childish and like silliest excuses I've ever heard in my life. And if you're afraid, because I was afraid, I actually thought it was true because everyone around me was used to say this, and you're gonna be so heartless, you're gonna be this like small little girl, like warm with a beautiful heart, because this person hurt you now, especially when you go through a breakup where it's like they hurt you a lot, and it's like, I know you're just gonna like lose all of that. And I used to get so afraid. It's like, I don't want to lose the way I love, because I gave to this person a lot and I was so loving, and I was so scared. I don't want to lose the way I love. I don't want to be bitter. It's a choice. And if anyone ever tells you otherwise, it's actually such no. Oh my god. I just had pomegranates as well, and I think my teeth look red. Anyways, I'm gonna rest my feet on yeah, this better. It's a choice. It's such a silly thing that people say. Or like they give an excuse, I had one relationship. She broke my heart, or like he broke my heart, and I just can't. I can't. That is such, or it's just fear. I don't want to say it's bullshit. It's also fear. Some people might truly feel like this, like they can't love the same again, or they can't listen. It's an older version of you that's gone. That's 100% true. You can grieve that. It's like it's grief in a way. You can grieve that older version of you that does not exist anymore, because that's what's gone, right? That's truly gone, yes. But the way you love, that's just part of you. you were brought up into this life with that, you know, from the divine, from the universe, whatever. You were brought into this life with that love, and you will go with that love. It doesn't get away from you. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't just die. It's not something that just exists. It's something that's infinite. It's infinite, and it's like, it's not something that will happen, and it's not an excuse. It's just fear. That's just fear that speaks through people that, oh, once I leave this person, I'm not gonna be able to love again. And that actually kept me a lot longer in the relationship than I should, because I kept thinking, I'm not gonna be able to be like this after. I'm not gonna be able to survive. Like, how am I gonna be able to love? Because no, it's not true. It's not. That's fear. And that's just like a way to keep you chained and keep you there, keep you trapped. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's a choice you make to just continue to be the way you are and continue to be loving. And I'd say even now, I'm even more loving. I'm even more open. I'm even more, like, in terms of my heart, is more open to be more loving, to be warmer and kinder. And it actually made me more, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, which is crazy. You see, it doesn't take away from it. It absolutely doesn't. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say today. It's been so hectic. I think I'm gonna listen back and I'm gonna hear the fly flying around, buzzing, and it's fine. My lower back really hurts. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helped someone. Bye bye. See you next time. Bye bye.